tonight, Special Prosecutor questions Ayawaso West Wuogon MP as it commences a comprehensive investigation into allegations of vote buying in some constituencies following Monday's special voting exercise. We have details as the EC says they do not have the mandate to investigate the matter, but the security agencies that are clothed with the mandate to do so.
We have provided the facility, they are voting. If somebody is distributing food and others, if you see them, we'll stop them. But it is not our responsibility to see that somebody is committing crime or not committing crime. That's not our responsibility.
We'll have more on this particular story as Kodeo reviews the vote buying allegations undermine Ghana's democracy and something must be done about it.
We've had a couple of incidents where people are standing around the polling areas and giving out money to some individuals, which really is quite unacceptable. This is an issue that we cannot condone in a fledgling democracy because it undermines the credibility of the ballot.
We have latest from the OSP's investigation on this particular matter and more here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Well, tonight, Special Prosecutor has questioned Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, Lydia Sarah Malhassan, as it commences a comprehensive investigation into allegations of vote buying in some constituencies following Monday's special voting exercise. Now, according to Joy News sources, the investigation will go beyond the MPP candidate as the OSP intensifies actions to curb corruption among politically exposed persons. You will recall the Election Observer Group, Kodeo, has also reviewed in its latest report on the special voting that such incidents were reported not only in Ayawaso West Wuogon and Wejagbawe in the Greater Accra region, but also in Keta in the Volta region and German North in the Bono region. The group is urging the Ghana Police Service to act swiftly by prosecuting those involved. We have not heard from the police, but we're trying our best to understand what the police is doing on this particular matter. Now, Kodeo believes if the police does so, it will serve as a deterrent and help prevent similar occurrences during the main election on December 7. We'll hear from Kodeo and OSP shortly, but first, the Electoral Commission says there is little it can do in such instances as it doesn't have the mandate to investigate such matters. Here's the director responsible for training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Srebo Kweku.
Crime is crime, right? So if anybody does anything which is untoward, it is the Ghanaians who should take care of that. I don't expect that Electoral Commission should be moving, checking who is giving food. That's not the responsibility of the Electoral Commission.
So you mean what has even happened in the past, EC will do nothing about it?
I'm told that the police was called in and the Office of Special Prosecutor had come in. They didn't bring the Electoral Commission because that's not our way. We have provided the facility, they are voting. If somebody is distributing food and others, if you see them, we'll stop them. But it is not our responsibility to see that somebody is committing crime or not committing crime. That's not our responsibility.
But sometimes they say your officers are being given food because you don't provide the food for them. What's going to happen now?
Give them the money to give, because if you say we want to give them food, look at the number of people we are recruiting. We cook the food. How are we going to do the distribution? And then the food, when it delays and it's not properly, it can lead to even food poisoning. So we pay them and they use the money. So what we expect from them is that when they are going to the field, they can prepare for some beverages, can get some biscuits, some drinks and the rest. Because it's difficult for you to store cooked food for them. So they should get ready. When they finish, they are paid. It's consolidated in their allowance.
Usually they do say that the allowances delay and they are also in situations where they cannot pre-finance, and that's why the political parties have that room to feed them.
The allowance delaying, right now, we've trained the people. If you are to give them payment and the person doesn't go, what happens? That was causing financial loss. Is that not the case? Because if the person has not performed their work, are you going to pay them? Right? Some people will want to do the work, but nature has said that something can happen. So no matter, one day have finished the work, then they will submit the final list. No, we recruited Kojo Amajua. Then when they finish, they will confirm that they are the people who did the work. Then we'll process them and we'll pay them. We cannot pay them before. Because if you pay them, we're talking of, we are recruiting more than 200,000 people. And you pay them and they decide not to go and do the work. What will you do? So there's no way they can be paid before the work. It's not possible.
So that's the EC's director in charge of training, Dr. Serebo Kweku there. Let's bring in my colleague Kweku Asante because we want to find out what more the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been gathering on this particular matter, since we understand that the office has already engaged Madam Lydia Seiram Al-Hassan. Kweku Asante is with our political desk and he joins me on the lines with Kweku. What are we picking from the OSP's investigation so far?
Investigation has picked up and it's ongoing as we speak. Special Prosecutor's Office has actually, as we speak, engaged Madam Lydia Al-Hassan, the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, as part of ongoing investigations. Our sources at the OSP's office indicate that she was asked a few questions, but we do not know as of now whether that was an arrest or would constitute an invitation of a sort. But the reports that we're also getting from the office is that the OSP is doing some close monitoring of the Madam Lydia Al-Hassan's activities, and typically the OSP is looking at gathering certain substantial evidence before it will proceed to make a formal arrest and then proceed to charge him. And so investigation is ongoing. We know that yesterday John DeMello and his agent at that polling station during the special voting filed a criminal complaint against the Member of Parliament, and the EC and the Member of Parliament and the OSP are taking the matter up and is looking at it. But John DeMello himself, it appears, will also have to answer some questions, because according to our information from the OSP, they also observed during the process that John DeMello was talking to some of the voters while they were in the queue. And so the OSP is looking at it to see if it breaches any rules regarding the election. So John DeMello is also being looked at in terms of the special prosecutor. But the sticking point here is that today being Wednesday, barely 3 days for that crucial election to happen, we cannot, or we do not expect the OSP to actually formally charge any of these persons who have been fingered as having been involved in election-related corruption. Because the OSP, as we understand now, is keen not to be seen as seeking to interfere in the elections. And the understanding we are getting is that the OSP is concerned that arresting one candidate while the election is just days away could interfere in the election and could give another party an undue advantage. That is the kind of information we are getting, that the OSP may not take any action between now and December 7th, when the actual election will happen. And after the election, if the OSP is able to gather enough evidence and it feels like he can proceed with this, then he can do so. But whilst we're talking about on all this from the OSP, we're getting final indication that Kingsley Nyako, the Member of Parliament of Kwadaso and currently the Deputy Minister for Education, will recall that in the previous election, he was seen handing over money to some electoral officials in an envelope. Allegedly, he said he was giving that money to them so that they can use it to buy food. And the OSP, we know now, has formally concluded investigation and is going to charge him, Nyako. And in fact, charges have been pressed, and in the coming days, we'll perhaps see the documents and the court filings and get to know specifically what of them have been leveled or have been charged with Kingsley Nyako, the MP for Kwadaso and Deputy Education Minister, for that conduct. So that is what we are learning from the OSP in terms of all that happened with Lydia Al-Hassan, and then what we are now learning that John DeMello is also being looked at.
Okay. Now, we also know that CODEO has released a report on these more practices that we saw in the special voting. Tell us more about that.
Well, yes, CODEO also did find some of these incidents, and in its report that it published after collating or aggregating all the reports from its observers all across the country. The CODEO says the observed reported 2 cases of alleged vote buying. One, they also looked at Keta in the Volta region, where some party reps at the polling station shared money to people who voted for their candidate. And so persons who were able to snap a picture and prove that they voted for this candidate or that were paid. We do not know from this report which political party or parties did this, but CODEO is reporting that in Keta, people were paid of voting a certain way. And then at Wejagbawi constituency here in the Greater Accra region, Kodeo says some individuals believed to be MPP party representatives were at the polling station gate, giving out 100 and 500 CDs to voters to cast their votes for the MPP candidates. And so in Wejagbawi, Kodeo reporting that incumbent paid 100 and 500 Ghana CDs to persons to vote for MPP candidates. And then finally, in German North, and that is a constituency that has a member of parliament who is an NDC MP. This MP's non-uniformed police officer, actually, from Kodeo's report, is said to have attempted to prevent MPP party chairman and several reps from sharing money, and that this police officer was verbally attacked by the MPP constituency chairman and several reps of the party. This is allegations that Kodeo's agents have been able to aggregate and have since shared same with Kodeo, and Kodeo has since published his findings from Monday's special voting brief.
Kweku, I'm grateful to you. So that's Kweku Asante with details of what Kodeo has put out. But at a news conference today on the same matter, talking about the level of malpractices in terms of people trying to induce voters in line to cast their vote, a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Ayawaso Tamaklo, called for the arrest and prosecution of embattled member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, Lydia Hassan, for sharing food to security officials who waited in line to vote on Wednesday. He's been speaking at a news conference earlier today, calling on the fact that she has to be arrested and dealt with in this particular manner. Let's take a listen to him earlier in the conference.
It was so shameful. And what hurt me most was that these people in line to go and vote were security personnel. And I didn't see one of them rejecting it. I didn't see one of them rejecting it. And what also disturbed me was that the PC, that's the parliamentary candidate for that particular constituency, when questioned, she denied it. Such a person is not qualified. In fact, if it had been in a civilized country, she should have let that contest by now. The party would demand that she leaves. She denied flatly that she has not been there. Why she has been captured on video. We don't need such people in parliament. We don't need such people as lawmakers. They will destroy this country. Indeed, I will pray that she loses the election if she's still going to contest, because she is a person you cannot rely on. And this also should alarm us and alarm the security service. I have always been saying the IGP seems to talk a lot, but a lot happens that he's quiet. Such a person should have been arrested then. Indeed, the statement made by Wuntumi calls for an immediate arrest. Immediate. I think we have been hearing a lot of lectures from the IGP. He must act. That is what the people of this country want. He must act as an IGP.
So that's a founding member of the MPP, Dr. Ayawaso Tamaklo. Let's go on to the phone lines now and speak to a PA to John Dumelo, because now we understand the OSP is expanding the investigations to have to bring in John Dumelo as well, because they also witnessed some actions that he undertook there. Benjamin Avonoche is a special assistant or special aid to John Dumelo. Ben, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, you've heard there that the OSP is now roping in your parliamentary candidate into this investigation. Does this come to you as a surprise? What do you make of this?
We have not been notified by the OSP so far as any such investigation is concerned. We took the intel, I think, on one of your sister stations earlier this afternoon, that the OSP was interested in speaking to John. I mean, on the basis that they picked some intelligence on the ground, which we are not aware of. Because what really is a matter of contention is that the current member of parliament was seen and captured on a video handing over items in a park that had now turned out to be food to voters while they were in the queue, security officers. Some of them who are even about receiving ballot papers. That is what is the matter in consensus. And that is what we have formally, filed a complaint with the OSP. If the OSP thinks that based on their own investigation or whatever information they now currently have, they want to invite the parliamentary candidate for questioning why not? We are very law-abiding people. and we'll avail ourselves. But what is important is that we will expect them to investigate the matter and take an action on it immediately, because Saturday is a day for general elections, and we do not want a situation where what happened at the Special Voting Center, where the MP was openly attempting to influence security people, while they were in the queue to vote, to occur again. And I was saying earlier this morning at one of your stations that if the state institutions do not take action, we the citizens would have to make sure that such unlawful practices do not happen anywhere close to the polling station, or even when people are in the queue. That we can assure them. But if they say, "Oh, look, John," they have seen John, and they have, I don't really know what their concern is, because what is the issue? Why are the state institutions trying to look for something to equalize the conduct of the MP?
That they saw him do, speak to people who were in line to vote, and those are actions that are also frowned upon by the law.
Speak to them about what? Speak to them about what? What did we all see? What did we see in the video? It was the MP, the member of parliament, who was in the queue handing out items to voters, security officers in the queue. That is the matter in contention. They should focus on that.
Okay.
These attempts to rope us into all this issue will not fly. But if they want to invite us for investigation, why not? We will make ourselves available. But as we speak, we have not had any official invitation from them. We will be waiting to hear from them.
Okay. But the OSP says that because the election is around on Saturday, they cannot arrest anyone. You say that they cannot say that they have to do it today or tomorrow?
Basically, that is the point they are trying to drive at. That is why they are trying to draw John in, that they saw him speaking to people. You have evidence of individual, a member of parliament handing over items to voters. A formal complaint had been made.
And they've engaged there today. So they've started.
Then they should take an action. They don't think that this is enough to cause an arrest. What we have all seen in the video is not enough to cause an arrest. The only reason why they are trying to bring in John, it is because they want to equalize and use an excuse why they cannot arrest anybody.
Okay.
Basically, that's what they are doing. But I expect them to be on campus on Saturday to make sure that those things are fair again. Otherwise, we will be forced to prevent it from going on.
All right. You what did you say? You prevent what?
We as citizens, it is our responsibility to make sure that people do not conduct themselves unlawfully. If the agencies, state agencies, have a responsibility to do their work and they are not doing it, it should be our responsibility as citizens to make sure that unlawful conduct do not happen at the polling station, and we will be determined to stop that.
And what do you intend to do? Because it does not lie with you to do that. There are security personnel there, and you need to allow them to do their work.
It took our action to stop them from sharing the items at the special voting. We were the ones who draw attention of the security. The security people were expecting to prevent the thing from going. We're the ones actually receiving the items, and you saw that on the video. It took us. We have had to raise the alert and ask them to stop before the media even came around to capture it. The security people were expected to stop the action. We're the ones involved in it.
So what I do understand is that you draw the attention of security officers for them to handle it. You won't do it yourselves because the law does not allow you to do that.
My point is that when people are breaking the law and the security people stand around and watch them continue doing what they are doing, we, the citizens of our country, have a responsibility to make sure that our laws are respected.
Okay. All right. Benjamin Avonoche, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. This is still Top Story. In this same matter, Cordell is calling for these allegations to be dealt with because they undermine the democracy that we've all come to cherish. This is research officer with Cordell Roda Osei Afol speaking to us earlier.
We've also picked up a few incidents about photographing of ballots, which really is quite unfortunate because it then undermines the secrecy of the ballot. And there are several reasons why some of these things are legally not allowed, because we are looking at having a very free, fair, and credible process. You don't want voters being compromised. You don't want them being induced materially of development. And I was going to look at some of the other related issues like vote buying, people being given monies in a couple of constituencies where we had some reports to this effect. A couple of incidents, one in Greater Accra. These are incidents that we are verified. we've had, as I said, a couple of incidents where people are standing around the polling areas and giving out monies to some individuals, which really is quite unacceptable.
So that's the CODEO research officer there. But let's bring in Albert Ahin, Albert Kofi Ahin. He's national coordinator of CODEO. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, if you look at what your monitors brought to your table, what must we do to ensure these things do not happen on Saturday?
As we saw in the video.
Yeah, this is very, very sad. I saw those things and I was asking myself, when did this thing start in Ghana? We all along have been getting the impression that, okay, if people are even giving money and other things, it is not done in the open. But this one is, in the full glare of everybody, the general public. And I think it should send a signal to everybody, every voter, every politician in Ghana that I think it's getting out of hand. What is very sad is the fact that the security agents who are supposed to be arresting people when they do such things, when such infractions occur, are the very people who are receiving the parcels themselves. So I think we need to, first of all, educate Ghanaians. Maybe people are doing it out of ignorance, but I doubt it. I doubt it whether it is ignorance, because you cannot take food or a parcel to a police station and give it to people in a queue. I think it's too much. So maybe what we have to do is to preach about it, tell the EC maybe to mount some kind of education. And but not only EC, the CSOs and all other stakeholders to get involved. I believe it is getting out of hand and something ought to be done about it. The people themselves who are supposed to be making arrests are the ones taking the passport. So where do we go from there?
But what does this mean to the image of the security this Saturday, especially on the potential ability to be compromised?
Yes, if you have been compromised in such a manner, where everybody in Ghana sees that you have taken such a thing, it's very a blot on the image. And I think the National Security Task Force should send a message to all other security men and women who are engaged in this exercise to be circumspect, to be very careful, and not to repeat what happened on the day of the special vote. It should send a signal to everybody.
Okay. I'm grateful to you for joining us, sir. That's Albert Kofi Ahin. He's national coordinator of the Coalition for Domestic Election Observers, CODEO there. Let's bring in Edem Senanu. He is with the Citizen Movement against corruption and pick his thought on the actions by the OSP so far. People sought to bring in the fact that, well, why bring in John Dumelo here? Let me bring in Edem Senanu. But this story has to do with the fact that there is potential for people to do same on Saturday, and people are calling for strict actions, and people are even asking, why haven't we heard from the police service as of now? Edem Senanu is an anti-corruption campaigner. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, what do you make of the OSP's actions so far, bringing in the actions they've taken to interview Lydia Serum Al-Hassan there, and even looking at the potential of also investigating or speaking with John Dumelo?
Is that to me? Sorry.
Yes, to you, Edem Senanu.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, I think that we would expect the OSP to have done this. What I am not clear about is, so what are the next steps? Because they have footage. What's the conclusion they've drawn? What actions are they going to take in relation to the law? So, yes, it's a good start. But substantively, the people of Ghana want to know, in relation to the law, has she breached? She has been in violation? What actions are they going to take to set the kind of precedent that prevents others from following suit and doing similar things?
And the fact that, I mean, the police hasn't spoken about this, is that surprising to you?
Yes, it is. I mean, the whole network system of the electoral supervision seems to be very slow to be responsive to these issues. And then that's surprising because, I mean, if anybody does this and you have some very militant political activists, it could degenerate into a serious conflict on Saturday if this is repeated. So they should use the opportunity to set the tone and ensure that people appreciate that this should not happen.
Grateful to you, Adamson, and he is an anti-corruption campaign. And that's it for Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Newsnight.